Welcome to Streaming News Network by Claude McDaniel. Please like and subscribe.
This is Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. A dramatic security scare unfolded Saturday night at the White House Correspondents' Dinner as an armed intruder triggered a rapid evacuation inside the Washington Hilton ballroom. Video from the scene shows President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance being swiftly escorted away by Secret Service agents after the threat was identified. Agents moved quickly, guiding both leaders out of the room within seconds as panic spread among attendees. Moments later, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was also rushed out under heavy protection. His wife, actress Cheryl Hines, was seen following behind amid the confusion, highlighting the stark difference between protected officials and civilians during emergency response. Inside the ballroom, chaos unfolded. Some guests took cover under tables, while others stood frozen in uncertainty. Armed agents moved across the room, and tactical personnel quickly secured the area. Witnesses described a surreal atmosphere, with dinner service still ongoing even as security forces responded to the threat. Authorities later confirmed that a suspect, identified as Cole Tomas Allen, was taken into custody. Surveillance footage shows the individual running through a security checkpoint before being apprehended. Officials say the suspect never came close to harming any senior government leaders. The incident marks yet another security scare involving the president, following two prior attempted attacks within the past year. Despite the alarming disruption, law enforcement contained the situation without further incident. The event was ultimately shut down for the evening as investigators began reviewing how the breach occurred. This is Streaming News Network. A disturbing courtroom scene unfolded in upstate New York, where a father has pleaded guilty to the murders of his young son and girlfriend. Authorities say 43-year-old David Huff admitted in court to killing his 11-year-old son, Jeremiah Huff, and his girlfriend, 32-year-old Yeraldith Chudy. The shootings took place in March of 2025 at a residence in Syracuse. During the hearing, Huff reportedly smiled and laughed as the charges were read aloud, prompting the judge to question his behavior. Huff later claimed he had a joke in his head, but proceeded to accept responsibility, stating he was guilty of the crimes. Prosecutors say Huff used a 12-gauge shotgun to carry out the killings and also fired at another individual inside the home. Investigators say the violence began shortly after 9:30 in the evening. Just before the attack, Jeremiah's mother placed an emergency call after receiving a troubling message from her son. Huff fled the scene and was arrested the following morning by state police not far from the residence. In court, he pleaded guilty to 2 counts of second-degree murder. His defense team acknowledged that mental health evaluations found him competent to stand trial, with any impairment linked to voluntary substance use. By accepting the plea, Huff avoids a first-degree murder conviction, which would have eliminated any possibility of parole. He now faces sentencing at a later date. This is Streaming News Network. Tensions flared during a televised interview as President Donald Trump sharply criticized a veteran journalist while responding to questions about a recent security threat. The exchange took place on the program 60 Minutes, where correspondent Norah O'Donnell questioned the president about a written statement allegedly tied to the suspect in the Washington Hilton shooting scare. During the interview, O'Donnell read excerpts from the document, which referenced government officials as targets and included inflammatory accusations. The president forcefully rejected any implication that the statements were directed at him, interrupting multiple times to deny the claims and defend his record. At one point, the exchange grew heated, with the president accusing the reporter of presenting the material irresponsibly and calling her conduct inappropriate. He also criticized the decision to read the language aloud on air. O'Donnell continued questioning, seeking clarification on whether the president believed the suspect's remarks were personally aimed at him. The back-and-forth underscored the increasingly tense dynamic between political leaders and members of the press, particularly in the wake of violent threats. The interview comes just days after heightened security concerns in Washington, adding further intensity to an already charged discussion. This is Streaming News Network. Former Federal Bureau of Investigation Director James B. Comey has been indicted by a federal grand jury in North Carolina over a social media post that prosecutors allege could be interpreted as a threat against President Donald Trump. According to court documents, the charges stem from a photograph Comey posted in 2025. The image showed seashells arranged on a beach to form the numbers 8647. Investigators argue that, in certain contexts, 86 can be slang for removing or even killing someone, while 47 corresponds to the president's position as the 47th commander-in-chief. Prosecutors claim that a reasonable person could interpret the message as a serious expression of intent to cause harm. However, Comey has maintained that he did not arrange the shells himself and instead came across the display during a walk. Legal analysts note that cases involving alleged threats based on symbolic or ambiguous language often face a high bar in court, raising questions about how strong the government's case may be. This marks the second time the Justice Department has pursued criminal action against Comey, a longtime political adversary of the president. The case is expected to draw significant legal and political attention in the weeks ahead. This is Streaming News Network. A longtime senior advisor to Dr. Anthony Fauci is now facing federal charges tied to alleged misconduct during the COVID-19 pandemic. The Justice Department has indicted 78-year-old David M. Morens, a veteran official with the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. Prosecutors accuse Morens of using a private email account to conceal communications about the coronavirus and its origins, allegedly bypassing federal transparency laws, including Freedom of Information Act requirements. According to the indictment, Morens is accused of coordinating with others to move sensitive discussions off government systems. Those communications reportedly involved research funding decisions, internal scientific debates, and messaging surrounding how the virus began. The case also references a controversial research grant involving collaboration with the Wuhan Institute of Virology, which was later terminated amid scrutiny over whether the virus may have originated from a laboratory. Prosecutors further allege that Morens accepted gifts from a collaborator, including wine and offers of expensive meals, and later took steps that appeared to support research promoting a natural origin theory for the virus. Morens previously acknowledged criticism over the tone of some of his pandemic-era communications during congressional testimony. He has not yet publicly responded to the indictment. The charges include conspiracy, as well as destruction and concealment of federal records. If convicted, Morens could face significant prison time. The case is expected to renew debate over how federal health officials handled critical questions during the pandemic, particularly surrounding the origins of COVID-19. This is Streaming News Network. Federal agents carried out a sweeping series of raids across Minnesota Tuesday as part of a major investigation into alleged large-scale fraud involving social service programs. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, working alongside state and local authorities, executed court-authorized searches at more than 20 locations. Among them was the Quality Learning Center, a daycare facility in Minneapolis that investigators say had dozens of violations on record in recent years. Officials described the operation as part of a broader effort to uncover fraud tied to pandemic-era programs, including food assistance and autism-related services. Prosecutors allege that some schemes involved falsified enrollments and improper claims that collectively cost taxpayers millions of dollars. The crackdown comes amid a wider federal initiative led by President Donald Trump, who has prioritized combating fraud nationwide. Vice President J.D. Vance is overseeing a task force focused on identifying and prosecuting such cases. Authorities say multiple individuals have already been charged in related investigations, including cases involving fraudulent autism services and a separate large-scale feeding program scheme. Several defendants have entered guilty pleas. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz responded to the raids by voicing support for coordinated enforcement efforts, emphasizing the importance of cooperation between agencies to hold offenders accountable. The investigation remains ongoing, and officials indicate additional charges could be forthcoming. This is Streaming News Network. A New York woman has been convicted in a shocking domestic violence case that left her boyfriend severely injured after an explosive attack inside his home. Prosecutors say 35-year-old Kiana Waddell was found guilty of first-degree assault and first-degree criminal possession of a weapon following a jury trial in Suffolk County. The conviction stems from a March 22, 2024 incident in which authorities say Waddell threw what appeared to be a stick of dynamite into her boyfriend's bedroom while he was asleep. According to the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office, the attack followed a dispute between the couple earlier that night. The victim had returned home and gone to bed when he was awakened by a hissing sound and discovered the explosive device burning on his floor. Investigators say the man attempted to remove the device from the home, but it detonated in his hand before he could escape. The explosion resulted in catastrophic injuries, ultimately leading to the amputation of his hand and part of his arm at a nearby hospital. Authorities report that Waddell fled the scene but was arrested the following day. Court records indicate she had previously made threats involving explosives in the months leading up to the attack. Suffolk County District Attorney Raymond A. Tierney described the case as a stark reminder of how domestic disputes can escalate into life-threatening violence. Waddell now faces a possible sentence of up to 25 years in prison. She is scheduled to return to court for sentencing on May 27, 2026. This is Streaming News Network. A tragic case out of Oregon has ended with a prison sentence for a woman whose dogs fatally attacked a young child in her care. 57-year-old Coco Miller has been sentenced to 26 months in prison after being convicted of criminally negligent homicide, maintaining a dangerous dog, and multiple counts of criminal mistreatment. Prosecutors say the victim, 6-year-old Loyalty Scott, had been dropped off early in the morning on December 5, 2023, at Miller's home in Portland. The child's grandmother had arranged for Miller, a longtime family friend, to watch him before school. Less than an hour later, authorities say Miller called emergency services, reporting that the boy had been mauled by her two large dogs, described as Great Dane and Mastiff mixes. According to court documents, one of the dogs forced its way through a door and attacked the child, with the second dog joining moments later. Investigators say Miller was able to pull one dog away but struggled to stop the other. The attack continued for an extended period before it was brought under control. Testimony revealed concerns about the dog's behavior prior to the incident, including statements that one of the animals had shown troubling tendencies around children. The case has drawn attention to the responsibilities of pet owners and caregivers, especially when large or potentially dangerous animals are involved. Academy Award-winning actress Kim Basinger is drawing renewed attention after sharing a striking throwback photo shoot with fans, offering a glimpse into both her iconic career and personal journey. The 72-year-old star posted images from a 2014 desert shoot with Flaunt magazine, featuring her in tailored looks against a stark landscape. The post quickly sparked praise across social media, with fans and fellow celebrities applauding her timeless style and presence. Among those reacting was Hilaria Baldwin, who showed support online. Basinger was previously married to actor Alec Baldwin, with whom she shares daughter Ireland Baldwin. Despite a highly publicized divorce in the early 2000s, Basinger has said the two now maintain a respectful and cordial relationship centered around their family. Known for roles including her appearance alongside Sean Connery in the film Never Say Never Again, Basinger also opened up in recent years about stepping away from Hollywood due to severe anxiety and agoraphobia. In past interviews, she described how the condition left her unable to leave home for extended periods, forcing her to relearn everyday activities. She credits her daughter for helping her navigate that difficult chapter and gradually return to public life. Now, with her latest post, Basinger is reconnecting with fans while reflecting on both her enduring career and personal resilience. This has been Claude McDaniel for Streaming News Network.
Thank you for listening to Streaming News Network videos and shorts. Please like and subscribe to our news channel.